So in case of adolescence, the important feature of the adolescence is that it's a time of very fast growth. Since it is a time of faster growth or very rapid growth, more amount of nutrients are needed by the body during that time. So that is the importance of adolescence. It is a stage characterized by growth spurt. Spurt means very too much increase. That is the meaning of the word spurt. Is a period in which growth is very fast. Since growth is very fast, the body's requirement for nutrients will be also much more higher than during the other times of growth. So during this time, the physical changes affecting the body's nutritional needs, and that there can be also changes in the lifestyle of the person. So the problem with the adolescence is that if there is any kind of undernutrition during this time, that can be adversely affecting the growth of the person during the adolescence, and that can be also affecting the learning of the person, the development of the brain, and the development of sex organs. So almost every part of the human body, including both the physical as well as mental and emotional development, can be affected if the person is not getting enough nutrients during that time. So that is a problem of adolescence. Normally, the person in an adolescent may be requiring, in the case of adolescent girls, the normal requirement is around 2200 kilocalories per day, or calories per each day. And that is the amount of calories an adolescent girl will be requiring during that time. Then, and during this time, according to the Australian dietary guidelines, 20% of the total energy should come from fat, and less than 10% of the energy should be from saturated fat for the children. So this will be giving you somewhat an idea of how much energy you are requiring. Then most of the time, most of the intake should be from beef, chicken, eggs and dairy products. This is an idea of how. Then here you can see that adolescents are also requiring higher amount of calcium. 1200 milligrams of calcium is required, because adolescence is characterized by, if you may have also noticed that when you are in 8th or 9th or 10th standard, you are having a very faster growth. So that faster growth is usually characteristic feature of adolescent period, and because the bones are growing very fast, there is a higher requirement for calcium. So normally 1200 milligrams of calcium is needed. Similarly, the requirement for iron. Iron is the principal ingredient of the hemoglobin and as also your blood. So if during the time of adolescence, more amount of hemoglobin is required for the product producing RBC or blood, and the requirement of iron during the time of adolescence will be between 12 to 15 milligram. And if coming to the zinc is also an ingredient, and normally zinc is naturally present in red meat like buffalo meat or cow meat, shellfish and also whole grains. And there is higher requirement for zinc during this time. Then another ingredient is folate or folic acid. Folic acid is an integral part of DNA and RNA and also for our protein synthesis. So during this time, the adolescent children have a higher need for folic acid that has to be taken in the form of either cereals, bread, milk, orange juice. So all these food items should be present in the diet of an adolescent child. And here you can see that failure to consume adequate diet at this time can result in delayed sexual maturation. That is one problem if adolescents are not getting enough nutrient, and delayed physical as well as mental growth. So that is that during the time of intense growth or rapid growth, if adolescent children are not getting sufficient nutrients, that can be affecting their physical, sexual as well as mental development. So this is the problem of adolescence. And normally now as of now in Kerala, the situation of extreme poverty is very rare. Most of the families are having enough amount of food, and government is also taking care of this. Because food shortage is not a problem in Kerala right now, but that is not the case in all the parts of the world. Even if you go to North India, there are several states, several districts where there is extreme food shortage is there. Officially, our government says that our poverty rate is around 20%. That is the government statistics. When government is saying 20%, we have to expect reasonably 30% or 40% of the people are below the poverty level. So that means a large number of people in India are still not getting enough amount of nutrients and especially this will be when the family is poor. Most of the time that will be affecting the development of girls. So that is also a problem. Here you can see that the eating right and nutritious food during the adolescence is important for several reasons. It is helping in the physical development, sexual maturation, and mental development, and also for the overall health of the person. The eating right food is very important. So healthy eating during the adolescence. I am not going in detail to every part because this is something we have taken already. So what is important is that each person should have at least 3 meals a day, and with healthy snacks in between, and there should be increased amount of fiber-rich food. Fiber is an important part that is present in many of the vegetables. So eating fiber-rich food is important. Then drink plenty of water. For example, if you are drinking too much like Pepsi or other kind of scotch or other kinds of drink, they are higher in sugar. But what is needed is that the children should eat a lot of water every day. Then eat balanced meal. Balanced meal means a meal that contains almost every item required by your body in sufficient quantity. Then when cooking for you, try to bake or boil instead of, because fried foods are not good. But this is not broiled, it is boiled. Fried foods are not very good for adolescent. Then there should be a control on how much sugar you are taking. Taking too much chocolates or sugary foods is not good during any time of your life. And what is important is that taking lot of fruits and vegetables should be a part of your diet. Then amount of red meat. So as I told you yesterday, there are 2 types of meat. Chicken is a white meat and buffalo meat or cow meat is a red meat. Red meat will be containing more amount of saturated fat, whereas white meat will be mostly containing unsaturated fat. So saturated fat may not be very good for your body, especially for your heart. So eating the red meat may be tasty, but at the same time it can adversely affect the growth of your body. So there should be some control in how much red meat you people are eating. So this is a general guideline on what kind of food you should eat during the time of adolescence. Then what is another area is the pregnancy time. This is also we have. So here you can say that during the time of pregnancy, 300 extra calories are needed daily to maintain a healthy pregnancy. So normally here you can see that the normal requirement of an adolescent girl is 2200. So along with that, an additional 300 calories are needed by the pregnant women during the time of pregnancy. And most of this should come from eating more protein, more fruits, vegetables, and also whole grains. So this is an idea which will give you how much food that you should take. And during the time of pregnancy, normally a woman will be gaining 15 to 20 kilogram of extra. That is, if you are 55, your weight can go to 70 or 75. So that shows that if the appropriate weight gain is not there, that shows that the child may not be getting enough amount of nutrients. So exercising regularly and enough amount of vitamin and minerals. You might have noticed that pregnant women usually take a lot of tablets, and most of these tablets are actually vitamin or mineral tablets, because if you are not having enough amount of vitamins when you are having a baby, since your own body is not getting enough nutrients or vitamins, the baby may be experiencing more deficiency of vitamins or minerals. That is why doctors are prescribing vitamin tablets or mineral tablets during the time of pregnancy. So this is an important thing. Then another thing is that fluid intake. Pregnancy is always a time of difficulty for women. So there should be sufficient intake of fluid, especially water, and several glasses of water. This is a problem many people are having. Many both boys and girls as well as men and women are taking very little water. They may be eating a lot, but they are not very much caring in they are very much they don't think that enough water is needed. So drinking sufficient quantities of water, that is also an important part. Then another is that you should avoid alcohol, because if you are taking alcohol can also enter and cross the uterus. Please don't talk. So that is an important thing. And what is more important during the pregnancy is this substance. This is known as the folic acid or folate. So if you next time if anybody is pregnant in your home, just go and see what kind of tablet they are mostly taking. Most of the time it will be folic acid. Folic acid is an important nutrient. If there is a deficiency of folic acid, that can cause birth defects, especially problems with the development of brain and also with the spinal cord. And if there is any kind of problems with the spinal cord, you might have noticed that there are several babies in our museum, and most of these babies were actually birth defects. And if such birth defects are there, most of the time that will result in abortion. That is a nature's natural way of eliminating not properly formed babies. They may not be able to grow if they are born. So that is a problem. If folic acid shortage is the deficiency of folic acid, can lead to brain deformation as well as problems with your spinal cord, which can. Then other problem is that there can be paralysis, there can be intellectual disability. Then incontinence means not able to control the passing of urine, that is incontinence. So folic acid is more beneficial during the first 28 days of conception. So that is also a problem, because most of the time women know that they are pregnant usually after 1 month. So the most critical time where folic acid is needed is during the first 28 days of pregnancy. So that means if you have a plan of getting pregnant, it is always good to start taking folic acid even before the conception, so that a child may be getting all the necessary necessary nutrients at the right time itself. So these are also other substances which are needed during the time, especially iron. The problem is that during the time the baby is growing, the baby also producing also needed lot of blood. For producing extra blood, iron is needed. So iron is the basic substance which is present in the hemoglobin. If iron shortage is there will be shortage of hemoglobin. That means there will be shortage of RBC also. Then calcium. Calcium is basically needed for the development of bones of the baby. Then vitamin D. Vitamin D and calcium are directly related. If there is shortage of vitamin D, there will be shortage of calcium absorption. So all these are needed by the pregnant women during the time of pregnancy. Then how much amount of weight? So normally a pregnant woman will be increasing 35 pounds. 35 pounds means divided by 2, around 18 kilogram. That is 15 to 20 kilogram is the normal weight gain during the time of pregnancy. So if this weight gain is not there, that is how most women are experiencing. If some women is not having proper weight gain, they are only getting 5 kg. That means there is something severely happening with the development of the baby. So appropriate weight gain is a sign that the baby is developing properly. So these are some of the important things that you can. Then pregnancy is also a challenging time. Sometimes what happens is that some women will be developing diabetes. Especially there is one kind of diabetes known as a pregnancy diabetes or gestational diabetes. The problem is that the women may be generally healthy and they don't have any history of diabetes, But during this time they develop diabetes. And problem is that if the diabetes is not controlled properly, that can affect also the development of the baby and also the delivery also. Another problem is the having high blood pressure. High blood pressure can also create problems with the development of baby. Then preeclampsia. Preeclampsia means what is the preeclampsia means? Yeah, preeclampsia, forgot the direct. Yeah, it is actually in case of preeclampsia actually due to higher blood pressure. And there will be a lot of protein in the urine. That is the problem of the, especially it is characterized higher blood pressure. So these are some of the important challenges that women are facing during the time of pregnancy. Then another important situation in the life is the lactating time. Lactating time may not be as challenging as the time of pregnancy, but still the body is working extra during the time of lactation also, because the body is producing more milk than which is not normally the case. So for producing extra milk, the mother also needs extra calorie. So during the time of pregnancy, the extra nutrient requirement is 300 calories. A somewhat equal amount of calories are also needed by your body during the time of lactation also, because a certain amount of calorie will be produced for around, normally adult women can produce around nearly 1 liter of milk per day. That is how much milk. So for producing that much amount of milk, certain extra amount of food or calories should be taken. Otherwise, if the woman is not taking that calorie, body will be still producing 850 ml of milk per day. But how body will be producing? Body will be depending on the fat stored in your body, and when body is taking the fat stored in your body, the person get weak. So that's a problem. If you are not taking enough amount of extra energy or extra nutrient, the body will be still produced, because nature has a way of giving first priority to the baby. So if even if the mother is weak, baby should grow. That is a policy of the philosophy with nature. So even if mother is not eating anything, she will be still producing the milk. But what the body is doing, that body will be converting fat and protein reserve into the fat. So, and similarly, there should be enough amount of protein, calcium. That is, drinking 1 cup of milk every day can give you, and 1 egg a day can give you enough amount of nutrient, extra nutrient needed by an adult woman during the time of lactation. You don't need to eat a lot. Just because you are pregnant, you are lactating, there is no need to eat. Just think about what kind of extra nutrients are needed, especially protein, especially vitamins and minerals. These are the ingredients, these are the nutrients which are lacking normally during the time of pregnancy. So this should be the nutrients that you should be taking. A little extra protein, little extra vitamin, a little extra minerals you should be taken by the mother during the time of pregnancy, as well as during the time of lactation. Here you can see, as far as protein is concerned, around 17 gram of extra protein is needed. So here you can see that here also during the time of lactation also an additional 400 kilocalories is needed for in the first 12 months. So this is the this will give you how much. Here you can see additional 400 to 550 kilocalories are needed by the lactating women during the time of lactation, and similarly fatty acids are also needed. So these are the vital ingredients needed by the adult lactating women during the time of breastfeeding. Here also you can see that enough amount of calcium. If there is shortage of calcium, that can affect the maintenance of your bone. One important problem women usually face is that there is calcium deficiency. And if calcium deficiency is there, what happens is that in the case of our bone, the bone is actually formed out of a cement-like material. And inside the if you might have noticed on bones of a cow. So inside that cement-like material, there should be enough amount of calcium. If calcium is not there, that will make your bone very weak. Weak bone means the bones will fracture. So the problem is that, that there is a situation known as osteoporosis. Osteoporosis means the bones are very weak, and if you fall, the bones will get there will be bone fracture. So especially during the time of old age, bone fracture is because at this age, if there is any fracture, you don't need to worry too much. After 1 or 2 months, you will be okay. But after 50 or 60, if you are having a fracture, that can make you almost make you very much it is a debilitating, because you might not be able to move around. And what normally can be normally a person can recover within 2 months in a younger age. But after 50 or 60, the problem of bone fracture is very severe, because you may take more time and you will be mostly on the time of on a bed if it is a leg fracture, and you have to depend on someone else. So that is also a very important problem, especially during the time of taking enough amount of calcium. Calcium is an important mineral that usually face deficiency during the time of old age. Then another is iron. There is no additional requirement of iron during the time of lactation, because lactating women is basically producing milk. And similarly, these vitamins A, B1, B2, B3, folic acid are major vitamins needed by adult women during the time of pregnancy. Now one more is that is regarding the old age. Now old age is also a very critical time, because because normally if you are taking your life during the first 25 years, you are growing, and during the next 25 to another 25, you are going through a stage called middle age. And if you are living up to the age of 80 or 90, that means for a period of 40 years, 30 or 40 years, you are in an old age situation. Now, if you are not maintaining your body very properly during that time, you may not be able to live longer. That's one problem. Other is that even if you are living longer, if you are experiencing a lot of difficulty, if your body, it is like maintaining a well-maintained car. If the car is very well-maintained, its lifespan is longer. It will have good mileage. It will not be producing much pollution. The same thing happens. If your body is well-maintained, you can have a normal life. There are many people who are living more than 100 years. Especially in some parts of the world, there are people are living more than 100 years. But still, now you are in the present world, people are living longer. What happens is that nowadays, if you are not healthy especially during the time of old age, children may not be even for our parents also. Most of the time, the children are not with them. So when your age comes, your children are not going to be anywhere near you. So if you are not healthy, what happens is that you will be facing a lot of trouble. Children may be talking with you daily, sitting in some UK, Australia or Canada or some other parts, and you may be here. So what is important is that maintaining good lifestyle is very important, especially. And if you are not maintaining your healthy lifestyle, you are going to face all the problems of bad lifestyle during your 50 to 90 years of life. That means 50 years you do not have much problem. But after 50, the problems comes and you have to live with that. It is like running a car with a bad engine. So if your body is weak, if it's not well maintained, you are going to have several problems of maintaining your body after the age of 50. So till 50, not much problems will be exhibited by your body. So these are the basic idea regarding the old age. Protein is important. Then folic acid. The RDA of folic acid in those over is 60, and after 55, sufficient amount of folic acid should be there. Otherwise, if there is a deficiency of folic acid, that can lead to anemia. And another is macro, that is RBC can getting bigger. So that is one important thing. A general guideline is that when you are older, you take more amount of fruits, more amount of vegetables. So if you have the habit of eating a lot of vegetables, a lot of fresh fruits, then you will stay healthy. Because even if you are, if you take the our Indian tradition, you can see that our old saints, they are all eating mostly fruits. Fruits and vegetables will keep you healthy. Then along with that, you have to also take, because if you go older, reduce the consumption of especially fat, especially red meat. You can eat, but there should be some control. If you are exclusively eating and those amount of red meat after a period of 50 or 60, that can adversely affect your cholesterol level, and also your also can lead to heart problem. Then there are some people who are very lucky, they may be very higher metabolic rate, and even if they are eating a lot, their body is not going to increase in weight. But that is a very few lucky people. But for most people, if they are eating a little extra, their body will grow in weight, and they become fat also. So this is regarding the what is known as the situation. Then amount of vitamin C. One important thing about the vitamin C is that vitamin C is somehow related with the immunity. When corona first comes, people are advised, doctors are going to take a lot of vitamin C tablets. So vitamin C is naturally present in nelica and also lemon. So they are very rich in vitamin C. So, and also all citrus foods are rich in vitamin C. So taking a lot of vitamin C keep you healthy. Even when you are having a cold, taking vitamin C tablets will reduce the severity of your infection. And if you are having the habit of taking honey with the lemon during the time of cold infection, that will certainly reduce your cough and also your cold infection. So vitamin C, which are naturally present in citrus foods, is very much needed for boosting your immunity. Then vitamin D. As I told you, vitamin D and calcium are directly related. If there is shortage of vitamin D, there will be shortage of calcium, and that will be reflected in poor bone development, and that can lead to bone fracture. And your RDA, recommended dietary elements for iron, is 9 milligram. Sufficient amount of iron is also needed. So during the time of old age, you should take vitamin D, that is 60 milligram of vitamin C is needed per person. Vitamin D is needed, then iron is needed. So all these minerals and vitamins should be taken by an old age person during the time of then calcium. That is, if you are drinking a little amount of milk every day, that will give you sufficient content calcium. So calcium is mostly present in, and a low calcium intake in elderly people can make their bone porous. That is, bones will get weak and osteoporosis can develop. So remember that the calcium intake is very important. Reduced calcium intake can lead to poor bone development or bone maintenance. Another thing is dietary fiber. Dietary fiber means it has a prevention of constipation. Now you can know that older people usually have a problem of constipation. If their bowel movements are not there, if they are not able to empty their bowels properly every day, they cannot eat anything. So that is also a big trouble. They may say they will be experiencing this constipation, and so taking enough amount of diet, that is eating fiber-rich food, eating fiber-rich vegetables, eating fiber-rich foods can help you maintaining a good bowel movement. That is, if you are eating a lot of fiber-rich food, this fiber has a property of keeping more water in your intestine. More water in your intestine means your stool or your excretory matter will be more softer, and it will be easier to pass. But if there is less water in your intestine, that will make your feces more harder, and it is more difficult to empty, and that will result in constipation. So this is the principle of constipation. So the best way is to take more fiber, so more water will be present in your intestine. Then fluid intake. Now fluid intake is that older people are particularly at the risk of dehydration. So if you are experiencing dehydration, your skin becomes wrinkled. So in this case, when you go to European countries, you can see that after a period of up to 50, these Europeans look very smart, very young, very dynamic. But after a period of 50, you can see that their skin gets very much wrinkled. Indians are more luckier in that. Even if if Indian person is 70 or 80, their skin may not be very much wrinkled. But that is not the case with the many of the Europeans. The best race I think is the Chinese or Mongolian race. They always look very healthy. Their skin will be very shiny even during the time of 60 or 70. If you go to Thailand, Malaysia or other parts, Korea, you can see they are very slim, very cute, and all they also maintain very good health lifestyle. So this is an idea regarding the different type of nutrients that you are needed by the older person during the time of their old age. So this is then there is one thing, just special needs also, which we will discuss in another class. So today I am stopping with here.